so our next step is to die cut some trees, and I'm using this particular die here. You could use whatever tree die you like. I am cutting 2 sets out of a darker shade of green and 1 set out of a lighter shade of green. And again, I chose my greens after doing the sky because then I could choose from the mica powder that I was using what shade of green I liked best with it. So these pieces of cardstock, if you're using this die, they're actually 4 1/4 wide because 4 was not quite enough. And even though for some of the layers, the bottoms are cut off, I wanted to make sure that I had the full die cut done with this so that I wouldn't have a cut off bottom to my tree or cut off top to my tree. So this particular one wants to come out nice and easily, but you see how we have all those little bits in there? This is the answer to that. So rubbing this little brush on the back side of your die, those bits fall out. You could, if you want to, take a die pick and go in each of those holes. Let's see if there's any left. Each of those holes to pick them out, but using a tool-in-one like that makes the job so much easier. Typically, I don't do it on top of the plate like that. Typically, I will have the die and the brush right on top of my garbage can. So all those little bits go right into the garbage. But if I did that, then you wouldn't necessarily see all the bits that came out of there. And again, I could use my die pick to poke that out. I typically do that because while I do that, some of the pieces come out as well. And you know, if you have any frustrations at all, it's a good way to get rid of some frustrations. You definitely want to be doing this between each and every die cut though, because if you leave some of those pieces in there, it does affect the die cutting. If you get too many in there, it actually won't die cut, it'll just press that shape into your die cut. So you want to make sure that you clean your die between each and every one. There we go, this is the last one to die cut. And some of these scraps you can save them because I mean you could still fit a die cut or something in there. You can absolutely save them for another project. All right, I will clean that die out later. One thing you must do before we start to assemble our diorama is you want to make sure that each and every little bit that is stuck in your die cut here is poked out. Now for this, you can't really use this because it needs the stability of the die to poke through the hole to be able to poke it out. So it's not really meant for working on your actual paper dies. It's meant to do that on your metal dies to help take those pieces out. And most of these just poke right out super easy. Once you poke that little die pick through them, the piece just falls out. Sometimes some of them need a little bit extra help, but usually it's pretty quick, easy, and painless. But you'll definitely want to have this done before you start putting things together because nothing worse than being on a roll assembling something and all of a sudden you have to poke all the little die cut pieces out of a die cut. And again, if you do them all together, you can collect all those little bits all at once and then toss them away all at once. And then this will just be ready for you when you need it. And so I glittered all of the hills. I didn't glitter my trees. If you wanted to, at this point is when I would take that same glue out, the same glitter, and glitter them. I thought there was enough sparkle with just having it on the mountains. But if you wanted to, you absolutely could go and glitter your trees as well. Personal choice. You decide whether you want to do that or not. Now I've got to clean my die here because I always like to have all those bits out for the next time I'm using it. but this tool really makes it super easy to get all those pieces out, and it's clean. There we go. All right, we will see you in the next video. Next one, we are going to start die cutting the pieces for our snowman.